Welcome to Machine God Eats, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mr. Darling. I work in a restaurant, but when I was a child, I wanted to be an astronaut. And the reason that I wanted to be an astronaut is because I wanted to explore strange new worlds and meet fantastical creatures and come back home and tell tales of my adventures in outer space. Obviously, I had very little concept of what an astronaut actually did. I also didn't know that by the time I would become 40 something, I would have some type of awakening where I don't even believe that the concept of space in which it was taught to us is real. I don't know what it is, but that's not what this video is about. I'm just saying that my dreams were far afield when I was a child. And as I got older, those dreams became a little bit more manageable. Okay. It wasn't about becoming an astronaut, it wasn't about becoming top of my class and going to Annapolis in order to be selected by a senator to get picked in order to do these extraordinary missions in outer space. I didn't care. I didn't want to do all that. I was like, all right, I found art, I found comic book characters, I found cartoons. Okay, so I was like, okay, what do I want to do when I grow up? What do I want to do when I get older? I want to be an artist. But then somebody immediately said, somebody, probably an artist, you ain't gonna make no money being an artist. Artists don't make no money. I didn't believe them. Had to find out the hard way because I'm hard headed. But it was true. I wanted to be an artist when I got older. What kind of artist? Well, I wanted to make graphic novels, comic book graphic novels, make my own characters, make my own series and all other stuff. Then I wanted to make cartoons, which I did accomplish by making nuclear pudding. Now I look back at nuclear pudding and it's like obviously it's a it's like a child of mine. I love it, but also I could see all of its flaws. Okay, because I did put so much time and effort into it, but at the same time, I was learning as I go, right? But it's not about nuclear pudding. I'm just saying, one of my dreams I accomplished. Okay. Oh, and I wanted to make a kids book, which I did. I even they even have the kids book out here in the office where I live. Okay, it's great. I mean, I donated it to them, but it's there. We have it like this little library here. Whatever. All right. I'm proud of those things. I'm proud of having accomplished those things. But those are a lot smaller dreams to have accomplished than the grandiose one of becoming an astronaut, right? Those are like I say more manageable. But why isn't becoming an astronaut manageable? Right? Why did in my mind I tell myself, well, I don't want to do X, Y, Z. Even before I didn't believe in the concept of getting in a rocket and going out into space and all the others, and getting past the Van Allen belt and going to the moon, right? Whatever. We ain't getting to that. Right? What changed? Why did it become more? Why did I say, okay, I didn't want to do that? Why did I choose to say, okay, I want to be regular. I want to be a regular dude, right? I accomplished those things, but what came of those things? What fulfillment came of those things? Pride. There was obviously not a lot of monetary gain to be had from putting out a kid's book on Amazon or putting up a cartoon on YouTube, especially when I didn't even have as many subscribers as I have now. Right? There wasn't no monetary anything to be had from that. It was the fulfillment of having accomplished something, having learned something very difficult and hard, and having to manage doing that, also going to work and trying to trying to be in a relationship at the time. Obviously, that went. I felt was failing at that, but I was proud of those things, not because, like I say, there was money that came with it, but because of the effort I put behind it. Right? I am very proud of that. It gave me a lot of confidence to be able to continue to make cartoons like I'm doing right now. But this isn't about me making cartoons. This is about the dreams that we have as kids, right? And why they change, why they die, why they fade. Okay. When I was in high school, there was a guy that worked at the McDonald's around where we lived. Okay, he was an older guy, older than we were at the time. He had to be in his like early 30s, late 20s, early 30s, but he was very enthusiastic about working at this McDonald's. And if you were alive during that time in the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, you remember a time when Mickey D's had 35-cent cheeseburger Sundays, and I think it was like 25-cent or 45-cent hamburger Wednesdays. And so the restaurant would be packed. Okay. It would be packed. Right. And this man, he took management seriously. Right. And he was having a good time and his spirits was fucking high. And they also had the sandwich big and tasty at the time. So he'd be like, I need me a tasty. I need some tasties. So I'll be in there getting them tasties, you know what I'm saying? But it was me and my brother would be, it was funny because like, bro, you don't have to go that hard to work at McDonald's. Put the fucking fries in the bag and relax. But it was his joy. That's why I could still even remember his face. I could still remember his customer service because it was above average. Right? He managed his McDonald's better than most of the McDonald's that were going through their Sundays and Wednesdays during. And even the one I worked at was barely manageable. But he ran his. He ran a tight ship, and everybody had a smile. Everybody was happy. It was fun, right? And I couldn't understand, this dude ain't doing nothing with his life. He working at a McDonald's at the corner where we live. What is he doing? He was doing him. And I'm making this video because I see so many young people talk down on themselves and other people who are working, like I say, at a restaurant. And it's not about me. All right, I don't care. Y'all can talk down on it. I talk down on a whole lot of shit about working in a restaurant, but it's not whatever. But I see people talking down on mostly their contemporaries, people their age, about, oh, you work at McDonald's, bro. That person is blessed to have a job. One of my first jobs when I was 16 was at a McDonald's, okay? And I was happy to get that little check, especially considering that me and my family were living in a fucking homeless shelter. You understand? And in hotel to hotel. So when I was able to get that little job and do those little hours, it was helpful. I hated it. I felt like I wasn't accomplishing my goals, whatever the fuck those were at the time. Like I say, graphic novel, this and that. Because even when I wasn't at work on that, it ain't like I was working on a motherfucking graphic novel. You know what I'm saying? I still haven't made the graphic novel. I mean, I've made the cartoons and stuff because I'm just whatever. We ain't going to these tangents. Staying here, right? But I would look at this man. I'd be like, all right, bro, you too hyped up. Relax. But then, fast forward, I'm older now than that man was by probably a decade. And I go at my job with the same amount of enthusiasm and gusto as that man did when serving my customers. Obviously, I get gratuity from the situation. He was a manager at a McDonald's, the store manager. He probably was getting paid pretty good himself. I enjoy what I do because I like giving good customer service, right? I do. I enjoy that. But there was a time when I was younger where even though I did give good customer service to people because I'm always trying to be polite, I resented the places that I worked. I resented working at McDonald's. I resented working at Sears. I resented working at JCPenney. I resented working at Starbucks, at GameStop, at Target, at Walmart. You understand? Like I resented them motherfucking places, like with a passion. Not because they were all bad places. GameStop sucked like a motherfucker. So did Starbucks. But it was because I, in my mind, wasn't where I wanted to be. But I hadn't put in the work to be where I wanted to be. I hadn't accomplished anything. I hadn't even accomplished the simple goals, like I say, the more manageable goals, like the cartoon or the book that I have at this point. I hadn't accomplished anything. I hadn't done anything. So what would make me think that I was deserving of anything else? I hadn't went to school for anything but besides graphic web design, which I was barely applying to anything as far as online, as far as being creative, nothing. Wasn't using that for nothing. So what had I done to make myself have that type of attitude towards those establishments? Nothing. I hadn't done anything. You understand? It was youth. It was me feeling like, okay, well, if I'm not here, I'm not doing this. And mostly because this is something that we tell ourselves. Instead of sitting in one place, because I see a lot of young people do it. I hate this job. I hate this job. We all hate this job. I'll tell you right now, we hate it. Like I know I just said I like serving. I love serving. I like serving people. Even when I'm working in customer service as a cashier, I don't mind serving the people. Yeah, I'm saying, but the job, the politics of the job, the corporate structure of the job, we all hate this shit. It's just a part of it. But you're gonna leave this one chain restaurant to go to another chain restaurant to do what? The same thing. You'll leave this one department store to go to another department store to do what? The same thing. Meanwhile, in between you working at those different places, what are you doing to accomplish your goals, your actual goals? If you have even sat down and made those goals manageable, because for a time I didn't know what I wanted to do exactly. Graphic design, uh, web design, fucking uh graphic novel, kids book. I didn't know what the fuck I wanted to do. What do I want to do now? Obviously, I'm doing what I want to do. I'm obviously sitting here entertaining y'all. That was something I discovered later, a passion for making videos and cartoons and all that. That came later in life, mid to late 30s. You understand? That's when those goals started to really manifest in my life. But when I was younger, it was all about, oh, maybe a kid's book and a graphic novel, or you know what I'm saying? And like I said, when I was much younger, an astronaut. But those dreams, like I say, the couple manageable dreams did. The grandiose one of becoming an astronaut, my beliefs changed. And like I say, I pulled back from it. Why? Because maybe I didn't believe in myself at the time. Maybe I didn't believe that I can get the approval of a senator to become an astronaut, or the get the grades to become a scientist or whatever. Not because I wasn't intelligent enough to do so, but because I know my commitment level to such things wouldn't have been that high. I get distracted very easily. You know what I'm saying? So being an artist and working at a restaurant, for the most part, serves me in the moment. But I think about the future even in this time. And what is the future for me? What does that mean for me? What do I want to accomplish? And that's why I say sometimes you have to literally sit down and write that shit out, because I hadn't done that until now. What do I want? Right? Besides putting out Nuclear Pudding 2, which I'm working on. I promise you I'm working on. Besides being more consistent and making videos and trying to be more uplifting towards the people that may come across this content, what do I want out of this? What do I want out of this? What do I want? That right, the fulfillment. All right, you made the cartoon. Okay. But after the cartoon, are you gonna market it? Are you gonna these are things I'm telling myself, right? What do I want out of this content? What do I want? I know what I want out of this content. What I want is for people to find their anchor. What I mean by that, every day you're going to be hit with a tornado of fucking bullshit in life. We all are. It's just how it is. We all going through some shit. We all going through some outer shit, and some of us are going through some inner shit. But what I mean by an anchor point, you have to find a place where you can anchor yourself. When that storm of bullshit starts to blowing, you can latch on to that and you could be okay. I'm gonna be fine, regardless of whatever, right? It can't always be monetary. It can't always be a person, right? Because those things are not, they're always unreliable, but you can't put that burden on another person to be your anchor. You can't always rely on finances in this day and age to be what they are. There has to be something deeper. There has to be something more spiritual, right? And if you're every day going into work beating yourself up about the work that you're doing instead of just being in the moment and doing the best that you can, how do you hope to accomplish the goals outside of that? Especially when you get off work and you're not doing anything to apply to those goals. You don't even really know what those goals are. You vaguely know what those goals are. You're able to criticize what everybody else do. If I was you, I would do this. If I were you, I would do this. You can literally put yourself in somebody else's place in their life, criticize what they're doing, and know all the right things to do. But when it comes to your own life, you don't know what to do. You don't. So as I say, you have to sit back, look at your goals, and then sometimes you have to write down the pros and the cons, and really look at your level of commitment as if you want to do that. Maybe it's okay to just be a worker. Maybe you're complacent working in just a restaurant, right? I couldn't be okay with just working in a restaurant. I would go crazy. I have to have some type of goal when I get off of work that ain't that is deeper than what I'm doing. I always have to be making something. That's just a part of me. That's always been like that, right? Even when I was heavy into video games, if it was just getting off work and leveling up my goddamn character, it has to be something that I'm working towards. But what are your goals? What are your goals as a person? Are you gonna be the biggest streamer? What are you gonna do to stand out? And I'm talking to the young people, so I know those young people. What are you gonna do to stand out? And you do, and are you willing to sell a part of yourself in order to do that? Are you, because if you're gonna be genuine, you're gonna keep a very tight circle, right, of people that watch you, right? But when you sell out, you're gonna go out, but you will lose a piece of yourself. You're gonna lose some of the freedom that you have, when you first started streaming. I'm just saying, I'm just using that as an example. What is your level of commitment? Do you want to be a firefighter? Are you a tub of lard? Are you willing to commit to getting in shape so you can carry somebody out of a burning building? What is your level of commitment to what you want to do? Write that shit down. And this is mostly to the guys, because I see so many guys say, well, it's over. I'm washed. I'm blah, blah. In they fucking mid 20s. I don't know if I've talked about this before, but that shit irritates me, bro. You're in your mid 20s. You ain't washed, bro. well, I'm 5'2" and I don't da. Well, bro, you have to max out your potential in other areas. Like you ain't gonna never be, if you 5'2", you ain't gonna never be 6'5". So get that out your fucking head. What other things can you do to maximize your potential here? You feel me? Like, bro, I'm never gonna have a 9-inch penis. That's never gonna happen, right? But I have to work, right, with the little bit of meat I got. I have to accept that shit, right? What do I do with what I have? I can't sit up there and worry about what I don't have. What do I have in the moment, and how can I use what I have in the moment to make my life better, right? That's what I want to do. I want to. That's my goal for this content, is to try to inspire people to do that, right? And also to be okay with where they are in life, and don't let other people judge you, like the young me that would go into that McDonald's and laugh at that manager who was obviously happy, high spirited, and obviously one of the few managers that I even remember in a McDonald's that I didn't even work at, right? So because his spirit was infectious. You understand what I'm saying? And that is the divinity really is. That's what divinity really is. That's how your spirit resonates throughout time and space. It's because of what you put out. And ain't about money, it's about spirit, right? So be okay with where you are to a certain degree, but also have goals to where you want to go, right? And don't be mad if you're not where you want to be, if you haven't wrote down where you want to go. How the fuck you gonna get somewhere if you haven't charted where you want to go? You know what I'm saying? You just gonna fall into some success? For you lonely niggas, y'all think y'all just gonna fall into some pussy? No, y'all ain't gonna fall into no pussy. It ain't gonna happen. I'm being I'm being funny. I'm being funny. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have dreams only die if you let them go. And I know there's a lot of people as they get older, and I'm saying in their late 20s, not even that much older, who feel like the dream is dead. Yeah, you probably ain't gonna be an NBA player, but that's fine. You couldn't hoop anyway. But what else is there? There's other things. Maybe you can, like I say, have some more manageable dreams and accomplish those things. Build up your confidence and then become something even better than you set out to be, right? Me personally, I feel like there's a way to explore the the time time and space, the astral plane, existence, without ever getting in somebody's fucking spaceship, right? Without ever going up into space, without ever, you know, there's ways to explore this world from within, right? And I know that sounds like some new age shit, but it's the truth. All of our perception of reality and of life comes from within. Like your only perception of the world comes from you. It don't come from nobody else. It's coming from you. You're the only one seeing the world through your eyes. You're the only one hearing the world from your ears, right? The universe is yours. So mold it in a way that best fits you. That's all I'm saying. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'll catch y'all next time. Bye bye.